Fully autonomous operation leverages the mapping data created in the previous lesson for automated spraying or spreading. This lesson covers plot editing, route planning, and executing autonomous missions. 1. Plot editing.
So, the first function is plot cutting. So, plot cutting is mainly used in some temporarily narrow plots, or the plot is too big and massive. We want to spray some area. So now, we choose the plot for operation. So now we choose a plot for operation and cutting. Here, we click on this logo. Next, we will try to slide our map and check the position of the cursor. And next, I will teach you how to operate. Firstly, we make sure the cursor is outside of our map. And now we press this button. And we slide this map again. And on the other side, we press this button again. Well, here we get the cutted area. So, after we finish cutting this plot, we can choose to click on the lower right corner, the Save button. And also, when there is an error with our cutting operation, we can choose to press Reset or a quick button R1 to reset operation. And now I will click Save. So, here you can see this plot is saved as a new plot. After all these operations, we can click this plot for next operation. And one thing to notice that this plot cutting function cannot be that accurate. So this function can only provide us with estimated cutting. So next function is plot editing. Also, this function can also be used in finish plot when we try to do some changes or we want to add any point in this plot. So the procedures are as follows. First, we may click on the plot we want to edit. And next, on the lower right corner, we click Edit or the quick button R1. And next, we may choose our marker type. And on the right middle corner of our screen, you can see here to select our marker type. And what we suggest is using this remote controller marker type. After this, we may choose to select our point type. Next, I will take the map marking as an example. So here, we choose the first one, the map marker type. And now, you can see on the lower right corner, we can press Add or a quick button B2 on our remote controller. Now I press this to mark the point we want to add. So, for marking operation, how to do this, you can check our previous tutorial class.
2. Route planning.
First part is about select your plot and do route planning. Now, the first step, we can click Mapping Fly in our remote controller. Now, when we enter this page, we click the left middle corner in our screen, and we can see the plot list reminded by this RC. Next, we click Use on our RC, or we can use the quick button. Firstly, we would edit the flying routes. Next, I will teach you how to do edge narrowing according to a real scenario. Well, firstly, how to do the single edge narrowing. Well, we may click one edge, and now it will be red highlighted. And next, how to do all edge narrowing. We just need to choose Select All, and now we can do the all edge narrowing. Of course, in the edge narrowing settings, we can choose to fine tune, or we can choose to slide. Also, we can choose to directly type it down in the blank. Next, I will teach you how to do the obstacle area distance settings. So, obstacle area distance settings actually refers to how many meters you want to extend as a safe distance. Now, similarly, we can do fine tune, and of course, we can slide. According to your real scenario, we can choose to change the head direction of the drone. So, it's a function of U-turn. Of course, we can turn it off according to your habits. But if in two centrifugal nozzles, we have to open this. Next function is spraying while turning. And now, we can turn this on. We want this drone to spray while turning. Of course, according to your habits, we can choose to turn it off. Next important function is boundary route. So, boundary route actually refers to the drone will fly again after the mission complete and will fly along all the boundary routes. And now, we can choose to turn the auto boundary route. As you can see, it will not miss any area, would cover all the space in our routes. Next function is about starting point. Now, after I click starting point, we can see every edge point, or we may call it boundary point, can be set as starting point. Now the starting point is here, but we recommend you to set the starting point closer to our drone, like this. The reason is to save as much time as possible, to save the time for low flying and for other quick operations. And next, we can see there is a small ball direction on our screen, and we can choose to slide it to change the direction of our flying routes. Next, we can see all the flying routes here. Double-click any flying routes edge. You can see the flying routes is parallel to that edge. Similarly for this flying route. Next, I will teach you how to cut short of the flying routes. As you can see, there is a bottom side on the screen. If we choose to slide from the left, the flying route is cut off from the beginning. If we choose to fly from the right, now the route is cut from the end. Of course, in boundary routes mode, when I choose only, now if I slide from the left, as you can see, only one flying route will be switched. And lastly, on the upper right corner of the screen, we can see the estimated field area and estimated working area, and of course, the estimated dosage. And next, we can edit the task menu on upper. So here, we can switch the flying route menu to task menu. And next setting is about route spacing. So this route spacing are actually determined by your flying height and spraying range. So you can check our recommended parameter chart and also adjust it according to your real scenario. And next setting is for dosage. So the dosage actually refers to the whole amount of liquid you want spread in the field per acre. And now you can adjust it according to your real scenario you want to spread in your field. And next, for flying speed, well, we suggest the flying speed controls between 6 meters to 8 meters per second. Of course, you can change it according to your habit. But if the drone flies too fast, the liquid will be spread, drifting in the air. And next setting is about droplet size. So we suggest the droplet size to be set about 120 to 150. And the droplet size refers to the droplet, or we may call it the particle sprayed by your drone. And next setting is your flying height. Well, normally, if we open terrain forward function, then the height refers to the relative height between the drone and the props. But if you turn this function off, then the height refers to the distance between the drone and your starting point. Of course, we can choose to adjust the height according to your habit. And next, after all the settings are complete, well, we can click Start to see the reminder of the screen and check if all the settings are correct. And lastly, we have to make sure no one or any animal is standing beside our drone, which may affect the safety when operating. So, after all this is complete, we can choose to click here, this red line, and slide here. Then, the drone will fly to operate according to the parameters we set.
3. Operations during autonomous flight.
So, the specific operations are as follows. Next, I will teach you how to interrupt our drone during your flight. First, we can choose to switch S to G button. Now, this flight is interrupted. Also, during our flight, we can choose to move your stick forward, backward, left and right to interrupt our flight. Now, the last way to interrupt the flight is to press the pause button on our remote controller. So, if we want to resume our operation, well, now you can choose two ways. Firstly, click the breakpoint on the right middle corner of our screen, or you can also click Resume this button or click R2 the quick button on our remote controller. Next, I will teach you how to do the operations when the power is insufficient or liquid box is empty. So, in this way, we can manually operate our drone to let it come back and land it. And of course, in another way, click the H button on our remote controller to do this automatic return job. Now I click this button, and you can see the drone return to this point. So, when the battery or liquid box is exchanged successfully, we can click the resume on the lower right corner of our screen. Now I click this button. And now you can see the drone is flying back to the breakpoint. Of course, we can also choose to fly the drone nearby the breakpoint to click resume again. Next, I will teach you how to do the operations after we manually interrupt the drone and bypass an obstacle. So, when we try to interrupt our drone during operation, well, you can see on the screen it will pop up with 3 options. They are breakpoints and point 1 and point 2. And of course, we can choose point 1 or point 2 when there is no need to return back to the breakpoint. Next, I will explain the meaning of point 1. So, now as you can see, the point 1 means the position of the drone, which corresponds to the previous flying route. And by clicking point 1 here, well, now we can let the drone fly back to point 1. And next, I will explain the meaning of point 2. So, as you can see, the point 2 means the position of the point corresponding to of the drone next of the next flying route. So, by clicking point 2 here, we can let our drone fly to the point 2 position. And now, I want to tell you that the position of point 1 and point 2 are real-time refreshed. So, these points are generally used when there is no need to return to breakpoint after we interrupt our drone. And in the left corner of our screen extension bar, we can adjust the parameters like the flying height and dosage and flight speed. So, when the operation is finished, the screen will pop up the information of our whole task report. And next, I will teach you how to continue our unfinished operation. So, after the drone returns, we can choose to click on the upper left corner. Also, we can choose to click on the lower right corner to cancel and to finish our operation. Now after confirm, I can press exit. And now, in the main interface, we click on the extension bar and we switch all to in progress. So next, we will try to find unfinished plot and click use on the lower right corner to continue our unfinished plot. And next, you can see in the lower right corner, we click resume. And now, the drone will fly back to the last breakpoint to continue our operation. So, that's all for today's tutorial.